Okay. Oh, yeah, that's me. Thank you so much. So hello, everyone. My name is Volha Smirnova. I'm coming from Location Solutions. I'm a brand manager at Location Solutions. And today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of telematics in the market of the GCC. I'm going to run you through a short overview of what kind of trends are actually persistent in the region, how do we collaborate, and what is the futuristic approach that some of the businesses are tending to adapt. A couple of really proud facts on this slide, but what is important to mention, apart from the fact that we have 15 years of experience on the market in terms of developing aftermarket telematics and technologies, we are residing in the UAE, which is headquartered as the hub for digital transformation and technological innovation. Location Solutions is very, very frequently being bombarded by one very important question. Should we really be accelerating the levels at which we are developing? For which areas of businesses should we enforce our developments? Should we target construction? Should we target fleets and logistics? Should we target ordinary fleets? Should we go to rent-a-cars? And what kind of products have to stay and what kind of products need to be enforced in terms of features and technological innovation? Well, some of the growth engines for a lot of different sectors are there, and most of them have been mentioned within the framework of other presentations. There's definitely going to be growth of population approaching Expo 2020 project, which actually brings the need for more fleets, for more vehicles, for alternative methods of fueling those vehicles, for a lot of different digital innovations that is to make this region more attractive for potential investments. Strategic Plan and Vision 2021-2030 dictates that about 25% of transportation is going to become driverless. Should we remove ourselves from the vehicle, or should we remove the driver as the central component of driverlessness? Should we not focus on the driver anymore as the fleet managers and and telematics providers? What is the future? So stepping back into the market of smart technologies, back in 2012, like I said, the expertise of my company, Location Solutions, resides within the aftermarket telematics. Back in 2012, the consumer, which are the fleet owners mostly, were not quite aware of what kind of telematics were to dominate the market. The focus was quite shaded. A lot of telematics service providers came to the market with basic technologies, with non-sophisticated features, which were mostly to track, trace, log, and report the data. So the focus was on basic telematics. Yet, in 2015, 2017, government came in place and started enforcing a lot of different projects when it comes to telematics. Secure Path. Let's take this, for example, about 140,000 vehicles that reside in the category of rent-a-cars. About 14 different categories have to be equipped with at least one mode of telematics. Let's talk about HCVs. HCVs, which are over 7 tons, also need to be equipped by mandated telematics units. The governmental enforcement did help Telematic to penetrate the region by another 15%, which is amazing. It did pose us in front of a challenge. Will the market start utilizing telematics, and will the basic telematics be enough? Because everybody wants it finally. No. What happened in 2017, 2019 is that the market became quite aware of telematics, but what they started to demand was that each industry needs a specified solution with specified features, with quite distinguished functionality that not every platform can comply with. So the motto of 2019 was not, let's go bigger. It was, let's go more efficient. Let us embrace less platforms but that serve efficiency. And again, there are other players in the market. There are telco operators that are actually helping us not only with 5Gs, but also coming across with their own solutions. There are OEMs with their own embedded telematics. There are governments with stringent regulations and requirements which are not only helping us to implement telematics in the region, but they're also providing their own platforms. And the focus, the main shift now, is towards collaborative platforms. The governments are trying to work with silos of data from a lot of different resources by trying to merge this data under one umbrella platform. So every time we develop something, the main challenge we're facing, is whether or not the platform is compatible in terms of all the protocols, whether or not the platform is flexible in terms of adjusting and being merged into another friendly ecosystem, into another siloed platform. Well, one very important industry that was not probably tapped by telematics was construction. For a period of time, we as the company, as a technology developer and provider, were focusing on logistics, on route optimization, on driving behavior. We were not quite tapping into construction. Last week, we took part in the Big Five, which is a construction exhibition and a great show for the region. We were thinking we would be the only telematics provider in the region that actually provides something technologically advanced for the construction sector, specifically for the fleets and the equipment within the construction sector. Surprisingly, a lot of different views from a lot of different industry leaders in construction are claiming that digitalization, automation, telematics, IoT is definitely penetrating into construction as well. So the last phase is to penetrate deeply into construction, into a lot of different fleets, into equipment in construction, which is now also covered. What does the media say in the region? Well, the media is definitely telling us, like we know, that monitoring devices are mandatory for all trucks. The global vision is that Dubai will become the driverless mobility leader by 2030. There is a lot of change in construction, and the new mantra is definitely not about going big. It's about going more efficient. People have become more fussy, more particular about the platforms and the new IoT products that they can potentially adapt in their business realms. I spoke to our colleagues from Mercedes this morning. We had a small discussion about the different levels of, yes, driverlessness. We spoke that there is phase 1, when we can take our hands off. There's phase 2, when you can take your feet off. But there's phase 3, 4, and 5, when you can eventually take your mind off. So is Dubai in stage 1, 2, or 3? Are we ever going to approach stage number 5, where the driver is going to be completely removed from the infrastructure? We will no longer track his behavior. The responsibility will be semi-shifted from the driver as the central point of the driving ecosystem. Like I said, there's always Dubai vision, pushing us to develop better, to accelerate our development resources, and definitely to collaborate with each other. So Dubai is facing a multimodal period where a lot of different automotive manufacturers are coming together for features. Before that, it was difficult to say whether or not they would ever open their intelligences to each other. But now, interestingly, there's a real platform that embraces a range of different OEMs that has features for just about several different segments of automotive manufacturers. And that's amazing. So we can definitely say that Dubai is in the intermediate stage from assisted driving to autonomous driving. Again, stepping back to the construction and the semi or the fully automated vehicles is that this Komatsu autonomous haulage vehicle has literally no place for the driver. It's a futuristic approach, however, but let's step back and let's talk about the realities of nowadays. So in the GCC, the popularity is being gained by the low-powered wide area networks, which are merged together with the GPS technologies nowadays that provide cheaper, much more available connectivity, and if merged with GPS, it gives you a complete overview over the locations of powered and non-powered assets in your plants. There's 5G. Telcos are definitely working hard to allow us to get into places with faster speeds, to places where we could never exist before without 5G technologies. And siloed platforms. This is one of the most important trends nowadays when it comes to telematics. You have to be ready to merge your platform, be that an OEM or the aftermarket telematics or a tire manufacturer with an IoT product embedded in it into a siloed collaborative platform. So before I step into the offerings that location solutions have been coming across to the market, definitely I would like to elaborate on the concept of basic telematics. Basic telematics is something we used to have back in 2008, 2012, when all we used to focus was to log, report, and track. You could report that data to any other system, but it was mostly circled around the GPS component, plus the sensors, plus a system that was focused mostly on the location of the vehicle and a couple of other performance indicators. Whereas nowadays, the core component of every telematics company, especially the developer, is a deeper understanding, a concept that wraps around different reports, different notifications, and potentially embracing other third-party developed platforms. Like I said, this is the pathway, this is the timeline as we moved. Before becoming Location Solutions as a brand, we used to be the telematics consultant, the technology consultant that guided a lot of different companies into how to use technologies in the market. However, in 2008, when we stepped into development, we started with, let's say, LS1 cluster. LS1 cluster, those were basic platforms that were definitely about logging, tracking, and reporting the data. 2015, like I said, we stepped into advanced telematics. We continued to develop, however, we invited a lot of other organizations and their products under our umbrella to enhance them, to basically put them together with ours, to not reinvent the wheel, but to add components from multiple other platforms and create products for the GCC specifically. 2018, 2019 was the era of cluster LS8, cluster LS9 types of products when you have to focus specifically on a particular industry, be that construction, be that logistics, be that applications for businesses, or even applications for telematics service providers. Well, like I said, in the Middle East, one of the main values is probably not oil. One of the main values is the estimation of a lot of different projects. Before we came here yesterday, we made a small research. We got ready, we got prepared, not only by putting the glittery shoes, but also by researching a lot of data. The data says that in the Middle East, in a month, different companies are running about 1,200 different projects in Dubai. About 80% of these projects do not have proper calculation. How many fleets, how much labor was used, how much time the labor was spent on the projects. So most of that data is not tapped. And when it comes to fleets and vehicles that we're using for these operations, one of the biggest questions, how do I track my vehicle? Well, you install a device. That's so easy. How do you work with your fleets better? You install a system that reports, that logs the data, that gives you a lot of different parameters that you were unaware of. But how do I service all of these different industries within one interface? Should I service those industries, or should I, as a telematics service and system provider, also accommodate for all the different products in terms of business? Should I focus on business tools? Is system for the waste management similar to the one that I run for logistics? Should I do marine tracking by means of the same component as I track refrigerated cargoes? Well, we managed to come up with a universal portfolio of all the different solutions that service a lot of different industries. And we definitely started focusing on mobile applications as well. Like I said, we have projects that are servicing the advanced telematic markets. Logistics is probably one of them. It's a product that is focusing on route optimization, that is focusing on deliveries, that is definitely focusing on more advanced components of telematics. It takes GPS tracking data, but it takes advanced analytics, and it puts it on top of the GPS tracking data that gives you a deeper intelligence about the whereabouts of the vehicle, about the reports and notifications. You can, at the same time, communicate with the driver by means of it. As a finance manager, you need full accountability of what exactly happened to your fleet. So the TCOs, the total cost of ownership of the project, of the product, of the vehicle, how much fuel was spent, is your fleet healthy or unhealthy, and how much in the fraction of a year did I spend for the project. So what's in telematics for the business? There are products that we create based on the data that we generate. Well, can we only talk about the interfaces in telematics? Definitely not. A lot of the functionality and a lot of products and features that we deliver to the market are circled around a range of telematics devices. what we made sure of was that the platform that we work with is flexible and scalable. So what the platform does, it integrates with over 1,600 types of hardware devices on the market that provide various scalability components. You can track fuel, you can track temperature, you can track generator loads, and you could potentially track the weight in motion. So when it comes to credit goes to StreamX, which is present here, when it comes to advanced analytics and artificial intelligence, this is one of the products when it comes to hardware that we are incorporating into our corporate realms, into a product range. When you're focusing on the face recognition, when you're focusing on a lot of other features pertaining to bad patterns of driving, and you incorporate that hardware into the software that we're using, and you provide an intelligible interface to the customer by means of which he understands exactly what happens as soon as the driver gets behind the vehicle. What's in it for the driver, and what's in it for the operators? This is a very popular concept and a very holistic view that the driver and the operator are always viewed as the victims of telematics. We're tracking their driving parameters. Again, we're tracking what they're doing, whether they're smoking, eating, sleeping, whatever they may be doing behind the wheel is something that we're tracking. So the driver is supposed to be the victim of telematics because we need to know what exactly he's doing. As it says, 63% of direct labor time on mega construction and other projects is spent waiting for equipment, materials, so that's pertaining to construction. What happens behind the vehicle when the driver gets into the HCV? Well, nobody knows. Is there an incentive scheme for the driver? Yes. What we do, we use information generated by Telematics to create applications and create different driver incentive schemes. So the driver would be motivated to use the vehicle, to drive better, to follow the best driving practices, and generally be the best. This doesn't cost money. You don't have to pay to the driver to create an incentive scheme or a scoring platform by means of which his driving patterns will be established as the best driving patterns or the example driving patterns. There are different schemes of how to appraise the driver, of how to evaluate the driver, how to conduct that into some financial evaluation. There are drivers of construction vehicles, there are drivers of normal HCVs, there are drivers of LCVs, and for all of them, when it comes to acceleration and deceleration parameters within a telematics device, there is always a scoring system that can be used in place. Well, I spoke a little bit about construction fleets, I spoke a little bit about logistics, but what's in it for the construction fleets? Again, popular statistics. It says that about $500 to $700 is spent per vehicle per day when it comes to downtime. Do we actually know when the downtime happens? Do we know how to run the maintenance for the vehicles? Can we save more money in case we utilize all of these programs? Definitely. So there is a specified platform and an application that we have built for the construction industry. This application is suitable for any possible category of construction equipment, whereas this one is very specific for ready-mix. Like I said, every industry has its own peculiarities, so does this application. It has a cluster of parameters very specific to ready-mix and construction businesses. What's in it for the roads? I'm about to finish, but this brings me down to the roads. There is nothing closer to the roads than tires. So when it comes to the driver, when it comes to the vehicle, if everything is operating effectively, but the roads are still getting damaged, there is extended telematics, as we call it, which is responsible for governmental financial mapping. By utilizing these systems, which are aimed at measuring the weight in motion while the vehicle is moving, or the pressure in motion that wrap around the tire pressure and the temperature of the tire, the truck weight and the tread depth, these systems are helping to maintain the safety of the roads. Last but not the least is probably the telematics service provider. Do we work with the competition? Do we partner with the competition? As a telematics service and a platform provider, we partner with the competition. We have created a platform that analyzes all the different telematics devices on the point of performance. It integrates with various telematics platforms and tells you exactly what is wrong with your hardware and informs your support team even before the problem actually takes place. So as a telematics service provider, having your own platform, you can run your platform through the preventive diagnostics component that will tell you exactly what is happening with your hardware, with your platform, before the client understands that something actually was missing or wrong. Okay, like I said, if you want the shoes from this outfit and the suit from the other, if you want to collaborate and put together several different platforms in the framework of a single project, what we do is that we create gateways that synergize and put together a lot of different software components. These software components can be operated within a single interface without having to open a lot of different applications. When we choose a gateway, we choose the environment or the ecosystems that allows you to work with a lot of different products simultaneously. So in case there's a need for a construction fleet, plus an ERP, plus, let's say, a telematics service providers component, we can put that all together and wrap that around a beautiful interface that will work with all of them. Like I said, with the GCC, there are a lot of different benefits, more than 8, that talk about the importance of telematics in this region. The benefits are many. This is the assessment that was run by QIT Report. QIT Reports analyzed the popular users of telematics, some of the anticipated benefits, some of the real benefits that people experienced. Most of them are focused around maintenance and driver productivity. So we want to focus on the people and on the maintenance of the vehicles. This is the statistics from another report by In Construction. So exactly the same parameters that people are focusing on. So telematics is bringing and is anticipated to bring even more benefits if made in collaboration. I would like to finish my speech with a bit of wisdom. When I was analyzing how many telematics service providers we have in the region, I came across one very important truth. All of us are providing roughly the same products, roughly the same soup we're feeding our customers with. And customer doesn't really understand or know the difference. It doesn't matter how large your portfolio is, it only matters whether or not the customer understands your competitive advantage. So the 3 important concepts that I came across in a book called How to Thrive in the World, where everything can be copied, were the following. We have to be technologically open. I'm calling for openness. I'm calling for collaborations. Without tire manufacturers, we as a telematics service provider cannot do anything. We cannot measure the tread depth. We cannot measure the pressure on the roads. We cannot measure the temperature. Without the providers of telematic devices such as StreamX, we cannot measure the real efficiency of all the various KPIs pertaining to the face recognition. Without a lot of your products, we are not stimulated to compete. So technological openness should be in the mindset of a telematics service provider. Cannibalizing itself. Interesting. Should I kill myself? No. But we know that the shelf life of innovation is from 1 to 2 years, depending on the complexity. In 1 year, the new product will no longer be new. So you have to be killing your products each 2 years before the competition comes and does that, and create even better components, even better standards and tools to operate the business. And the last, and my favorite one, would be automate everything. If you see that there is space for collaboration, space for replacing human decision-making by a technology, please be open to that. And definitely you will thrive the world. Thank you.